Jackson gave me the news of a planet far away. And Colonel O'Neill will assemble a team that will try to save the day. Dr. Sam has a master plan and a science attitude. And the Jaffa Teal, he's part of the deal with his trusty Goa'uld. It's just a regular day, it's Stargate Command, and it might be hard to understand.
Chevron 1 encoded. Chevron 2 encoded. Chevron 3 encoded. Chevron 4 encoded. Oh no, this is gonna happen. Chevron 5 encoded. Chevron 6 encoded. Chevron 7 locked. We have a stable world.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm your co-fry, Sarah.
I'm your co-fry, Christina.
And I'm your co-fry, Wells.
And we're back. We're back in the saddle. We're being consistent.
2 weeks in a row.
Episode review, whatever we fucking call them.
I like to call them episodes, which is what it says on our YouTube. But all the thumbnails say episode commentary.
Yeah.
Oh, episode is more on brand.
Episode. Yeah.
So we are going to talk about season 3. Jesus Christ, I'm off. Season 4, episode 15. Yeah, 15. Chain reaction.
Yeah.
Woof.
But I mean, we couldn't have timed this more perfectly.
It's so fitting. What the fuck?
Yeah. Whew. Yeah. Like that rewatch again. I rewatched it last week, but I'm like, I'm gonna rewatch it again today. And I'm like, ooh, this is down to the day, like very fitting. So good. I'm excited for this conversation. Maybe not excited is the right word, but I think it'll be good commentary.
Yeah, but before we get into it, let's jump into the fry box real quick to talk about current goings on.
Yeah.
Short, cause we're 3 fries short.
Companion burger, please, with cheese.
Sure.
Ooh, and ketchup.
So companion burger is that on Thursday, the 23rd, we are launching our Lunar New Year's variant pins of our characters. And we need all of y'all to come, help us out and hopefully maybe get a pin or two. But what I'm going to do, because I didn't do this ahead of time, because I never do it ahead of time, is type this. I'm typing a different thing that I'm saying right now, which is real hard, by the way. But if you go to get.amandatappingbook.org/lunar new year, you can sign up to the campaign to be notified like when it goes live. And the more people we get signed up to that actually help boost the algorithm and like show more people on the campaign. So like it's kind of a critical thing to like sign up. And obviously we want you to get pins or whatever too, but like at least sign up, helps us, gets the word out. It's really exciting. All of them are our pins, like Overthinking Overlord, Anxious Astronaut, but they are Lunar New Year or Chinese New Year variants, and they come with their own little blessing for the new year. And they're very cute, and it's in Chinese, but all the explanation will be on the card, so you'll understand, you'll get a little education with it. And actually, once the page launches, the different tiers of pins you can get are all numbered, and there's education within the numbers of like what those numbers mean in like Chinese philosophy and belief and everything too. So like what is 1, what is 2, what are the significance of those numbers. So there's a lot of information. Also, there's a really cute picture of like Lawrence and his family from when he was a kid and stuff. Talking about all the pins will be mystery in the red envelopes, and the red envelopes are a big Chinese New Year tradition. They usually like money or something to people, and you wish them Happy New Year, basically. So that's what it is. So yeah, y'all go sign up and help us get boosted, because we're part of this huge thing called Pintopia, and there's like 170 something creators all making pins. But if you back like a few of them or something, you get something extra too. Like it's a cool sort of collab sort of thing. There's definitely some really cute like Korean street food pins that I have my eyes on.
Nice.
But like, yeah, a lot of really cool stuff. So that's the companion burger. That's the biggest thing going on right now. Book is continuing basically. So that's just gonna be the book news for a while probably. But yeah, the pins are really exciting and another way to help boost us. If you do buy our pins,
Mhm.
all of that is just helping keep us going so that we can continue the embracing mental health stuff for everybody. And I think this is going to segue very nicely into the next part of the conversation because it feels like everybody is going to need a little extra help as we move
Mhm.
forward in this wild world of ours at this point. So, yeah, if
Mhm.
we can just do a little, even our little part to try to help with that, you know, buying an enamel pin helps us keep doing things. That's great. And then we can help other people. So,
Yeah.
um, there are plenty of other ways to get involved, and we'll kind of keep talking about stuff like that as we go
Mhm.
on. Probably even outside of this episode, down the road, even as we learn more and learn how what we can do. I mean, I personally would be happy to help inform people about what they can do, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure all of us are. So
Nope, sorry.
nope,
I
nope,
don't wanna help
you
people.
don't at all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
Mm-mm.
stick with us on the ride in general, the companion, 3 Fridays Short. Yeah, we're here. We're not going anywhere. And yeah,
You can't get rid of me, bitch.
Nope. Stuck
what's
with us.
yep. So yeah, that's the
So,
companion program. Nice
thick
and
and
clean,
thin.
nice and
All
like
right.
wrap up as quickly as possible. So there you go.
Addressing the TikTok in the room. Okay, listen. We wouldn't be here without TikTok, so it's all very like near and dear to our hearts. Um, we have not gotten to the point where like we have made like there are creators out there who make a living off of it, whether it's connected to their small business. Their small business blew up because of TikTok, and it
Mhm.
it provides them some sort of traffic to their business. Those are the people who I was really feeling for when TikTok went dark. The ban went into effect, and as of currently, right now, it is Sunday, the 19th at 8:20 p.m. It's back up and running.
Yep.
Questionable. Um,
Mhm.
lots. Nobody really knows what's going on. Um, I'm not gonna get into that either, but all I have to say is question everything. It's up and now for whatever time we have it left. If it gets taken down again, it we have no control over it. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Um, but truly my thoughts were with like the people who make a living off of it, and to the
Mhm.
people who are just like, I never downloaded it in the first place because I'm better than you. Like that type of vibe fuck off, like, eh, whatever, like, pat yourself on the back. I don't care that you feel better than everyone else, and now they think, "Oh, you have to get a real job." Um, that's the kind of hater that I hate. Um,
Mhm.
but it's back up and running for right now. Um, so
Yeah.
again, the only reason we talk about it so much is because we would not be here without it.
No.
We would not exist. Um, so it's all very near and dear to us here.
Yeah. It is. And, like, so I don't know for those who follow along, but, like, almost every night, I go live on TikTok with, John, who's in the chat right now, and Scott, and Mara, and some others, and it's just kind of become like a, nighttime hangout. It's not every night, but, for a multitude of reasons, TikTok is where I kinda made a post about it earlier, but everyone that I almost everyone, I shouldn't say everyone, I would say 90% of the people that I hold dear to my life and are close to me, I have TikTok to thank for it. So obviously, I have a lot of deep feelings about what TikTok was for me, but in a lot of ways I've tried to reposition my thoughts about it that it really gave me deep roots and we grow from there. And even though if it goes away or is not the same or it's changed, it gave me a gift of community, and it's up to me and my community and our and us here in the podcast and those outside of it that I've met to kind of water that and nurture it and let it grow in other ways, and it can evolve, and that's just part of life. I think we become really problematic as a society when we become so um expectant of things to stay the same, and we don't have solutions for ourselves when they don't. It is normal to feel rocked and to feel upset and to feel frustrated. Oh my god, yes. But I had some really good conversation today, and this is kind of my input on it right now, just like my feelings, my thoughts, and just kind of unique to me, is that I think we can't get so lost in the darkness of it and the depressive of it, like, that we don't also try to seek for our tools and our resources to try to find some light in some way forward. Absolutely, it feels shitty. Absolutely, I feel like this is we're in the bad place because we're not stupid. I understand what's happening. We saw it coming from a mile away when it comes to the convenience of when it went down, when it came back up, the messaging that was put on it, who was thanked for it, the corporate politics being played and patting certain people's backs. Like, we're not dumb. So to Sarah's point, and Wells, we were talking about this earlier, question everything. It's not, just I my feeling is it's changed. And I love it and it'll be there and we'll see what evolves. But I'm in a position where it feels icky. I'm not sure why I feel that way, but it feels like the bad place for me. But my people are still there. So even if it is quote unquote the bad place, my community is still there and it's up to us to maybe see what we can do to keep some positivity. But that's my take on it. And for anyone who is feeling, deep and lost and without kind of tools or having access to that, like, I know Wells, we were talking, and maybe I'll volley it to you, but there's, it's hard when you're in that space, but this is maybe a time to look inward and go, maybe I should work on my emotional kind of like resonance and ability to kind of regulate and find community. And you had some really good takeaways that I think would be good to talk about.
Yeah. So I went to one of the many rallies that happened yesterday. That was all planned it was all planned before the TikTok, but before all that stuff happened. And it was, it was the People's March, I think is what they called it, came out of the Women's March. At least the one here was all the same organizers as the Women's March in the past and everything. But the whole point of it was to get people together from all different groups. As far as activist groups, but also just different groups of people, like different marginalized communities, and even just like your majority people at everything. Try to pull people together to make sure, I guess, first and foremost, that like you knew what community was around you.
Mhm.
And then to give a few resources. They had a lot of people talk on the very local activist level, which I would, when I talked earlier about like you want to trying to get involved in things, the local level is probably the most important place you can be, because
Mhm.
everything comes up from that basically.
Mhm.
Um, the change, it's a place where you can actually affect change and try to do something. In my state, it's one of the harder ones to try to do something when you're politically aligned the way I am, because I'm in South Carolina. But it's still, there are still people
Mhm.
here and they're still fighting the fight. And that is something to feel hopeful about as well. And then also, I think almost every person that spoke yesterday talked about the importance of taking care of yourself
Mhm.
through all of this, because it is a marathon, it's not a sprint. You see a lot of different people talking about it different ways, but that's 100% what it's going to be. It's not like we can just fix this really quickly and everybody just go to war and then we're okay. Like that's not the way it's going to go. So we even opened the whole thing with kind of a box breathing, like a group box breathing thing
Mhm.
together. One lady specifically said, figure out what you need to do to protect your peace through this, whether that's
Mhm.
picking up a craft, music, whatever, like whatever you need to do, and recognize what capacity you have at certain times and what you don't, and
Mhm.
don't try to do more than you can do, because your reserves are, you gotta be super mindful of that throughout this. So it's okay, and I find myself doing it all the time. I was like really doom, like end of world doom at the end of the day yesterday, because I went straight
Yeah.
from the rally to like the TikTok thing happening, and like everything felt like the world was crumbling down around me. And
Mhm.
it's and I didn't do what I should have done. Like I didn't figure out some sort of mindful thing, some sort of distraction, something. I was just eating everything of it I could. And
But I will
that's
say, but what you did do is you did reach out and you did talk about it and you did like have safe spaces to confide in it. So like
Mhm.
you did use some tools to kind of like
Sure.
get through, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and it's, yeah, because the type of person that's pretty hyper aware of like myself and like my feelings,
mhm.
and that just comes from a lot of work and like even if I haven't figured out how to fix it right away, when I talk about my feelings or that, like last night, I was like, I'm getting really like apocalyptic feeling right now. And I know that I'll wake up tomorrow and I'll probably feel different. Like I'm very aware of all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't possibly just stay in that state for long. You will hurt yourself basically. Like you've just got to
Yeah.
be aware of what you need to do.
For
And I know
those who
ranted for a
Oh,
while, but like that's like
no, it's so
super
true.
important. Yeah.
For those who may be like not confused, but maybe like later on you're going to look back and be like, what was going on? I think maybe good to ground us on two things. We're not purely talking about the TikTok ban and the disdain. We have an inauguration happening tomorrow, and there are some of us who on very personal spaces are going to be impacted, and on others it's just a general upheaval of society as they would like to see it, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and that is the undercurrent of where when these other things happen, like the TikTok ban, and you see these other things happening, these are symptoms of a bigger kind of cancerous thing occurring for us. So just want to kind of put that on the record, that so someone doesn't look back or misinterpret that we're
But
talking
listen to
about the
this
TikTok
episode
ban
5
and
years
there's a
down the
death on
road.
way. Yeah, but I think just for our archival purposes,
TikTok's
or
called
someone
schmick-schmuck or something at that point. We don't even know. Like we don't know
like
what's gonna happen.
this isn't just about that. It's because we recognize that what's going on is very political, and then there's a lot happening with our inauguration happening tomorrow. So that's just to ground ourselves in truly what's going on for those maybe who are international, who might not have a clear reference or timeline or pay attention to US politics.
Sure.
So yeah, I thought that would be
On cue,
important.
Jasper has begun his
Yeah, I
Jasper.
hear him.
Oh, buddy.
I
But
think
anyway,
I think I'll close with saying this: like, if you are someone who is just on TikTok for the community, they can't take that from us. They cannot take the community that we've built away from us.
No.
There are other ways that we can connect and communicate. So that is one thing that it's like we will get through this because we have to. In more, and I'm not just talking about TikTok. We have no choice, bitch. Like we gotta lock the fuck in and dig our heels in because we don't have a choice not to. Gird those loins.
Oh yeah, I know we're not supposed to look at comments, but because we're gonna switch right into the episode, can we just pin Captain Swan's comment real quick and just say it, because I think it's important, so we don't have to like come all the way back at the end. But it's so true that to note before every major historical shift, a key feeling noted is everyone feels like it's the end of the world, and it's true. So just again, question everything, be aware, take time for yourself. To Wells's point, it is a marathon, not a sprint. But we only get through
it's okay
it by
to
making
not
sure.
have the capacity to think about every single aspect of this. It is
Correct.
okay. You are
Correct.
not doing bad by like being like, I don't have the energy to fight this one particular fight or to think about this one thing. It is okay. I'm telling you that right now. And I hope other people tell you this too. But I know that me personally, I find myself wanting to immediately dive into everything. I think that's natural when you're faced with something like this, but it's okay. It's so okay.
And you're allowed to live your life and enjoy things and be happy and find peace. And you should. That is actually what gets us through, is find the things that bring you so much joy and make you happy, because that is what is contagious and can help. So just don't lose any of that.
Yeah.
So, okay. I just want to say that before we got into the episode.
Which is also all about politics and conspiracy. Let's roll right in.
Let's go right in.
This was a good one. I know, like, I will say last week's episode, I don't even fucking remember what it was called. That one was like, the neuralizer from MIB, that one was wiped from my memory, right? Like, I did not remember that one at fucking all. I do remember this one.
I like this one.
So again, we're talking about season 4, episode 15. It's called Chain Reaction. And we'll just overall thoughts on this episode. I know we kind of like mentioned, like, I think this is a good one. It's a very Earth-centric episode. We don't go off-world, so it's always like a nice change of pace when we get an Earth
Mhm.
episode because some fuck shit's happening. Like,
Mhm.
what's going on? And it is such a I think it's very refreshing and realistic because in other sci-fi franchises like Star Trek, the world has solved all its problems and it's a beautiful, wonderful utopia, and you don't really have to deal with that kind of shit. But as
Mhm.
Stargate takes place present day Earth, circa 2001 at this point, um, it comes with all of those Earth politics. And
Mhm.
it would be a shame for them to not add this type of storyline in because it
Mhm.
gives it such that realistic feeling. We know in reality this stuff would be going down
Mm-hmm.
on Earth.
Mhm.
So I love that they expanded the world and continue to expand it to include this like infighting that you have between various government agencies on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. I think quickly my takeaway is the theme of question everything and be willing to accept nuance until you have answers. Like be willing to blur lines until you have the full scope. Don't judge a book by its cover. Make sure you really take time to get your own answers and get them for yourself. And I like that as a theme of this episode too, of like sometimes you just got to keep asking till you kind of get to the end of the thing. So,
Yeah. Uh, okay. One of mine is I really love this is the episode where we start getting the Mayborne that we all I think love.
Yes.
Uh,
mhm.
and then also love to hate Kinsey. So anytime he's around,
Yep.
love to
Yeah.
hate him. And I guess my big takeaway or like really um point to think about is just like there's very much with the general that comes in we'll talk about it and everything, but there's this like underlying tone of this very familiar anti-expert, anti-intellectual
Oh, bitch.
um, and that we are dealing with in society right now. And
Mhm.
it shows itself very well. It's like, just listen to your experts, yo. They're experts for a reason. They've been
Mhm.
studying this shit for so long. Why are we having this conversation? Like
Mhm.
that's where I get by the end of, the B storyline or the A, whatever you want to call it. There's an A storyline and a B storyline. But yeah, um, that feels very much like oh, I don't care. I don't care that you know everything there is to know about this. I'm
Mhm.
just gonna muscle my way through this. That's what that feels like. Yeah. Anyway,
Mhm.
so
Oh
that's
yeah.
my big thing with this episode.
Yeah. So our episode opens up at the SGC. We are in the control room with Walter and Hammond. There's an incoming wormhole. It is SG-1, and they're under heavy attack. Hammond keeps the iris open, but the gate room is like taking hits. Like you see shit blowing up. They evacuate the gate room of all of like the personnel that are in there. They close the blast doors. SG-1 make it through very fucking casually, if you ask me. Like they come in and then they turn around and look at the why are they not like hitting the deck immediately?
Yeah.
Because the way that stuff was coming through, like you can see there's like the concrete is like being exploded away. That one old looking computer station was like completely blown up. They just like waltz right through and they turn around and look at the wormhole. Look at like hit the ground. God.
Yep.
Um so then we cut to the briefing room, and Hammond is really somber. And he said if he had followed protocol and closed the iris, SG-1 would not have made it through. And every team that's sent off world is at risk, and Hammond has had enough. And he tells SG-1 that effective immediately, he will be stepping down from his command at the SGC. And he's
Mm.
like, this is too stressful. I'm tired of this. I don't like sending people off to maybe never come back. This moment, this is a key moment for me. I can't do it anymore. Credits.
Oh, did you just realize we were out of order?
No,
What?
we weren't out of order. It just flashed. I have no idea.
Oh,
Oh,
Didn't touch it.
well, we just did a little
Just did a
roundabout.
little loop de loop. Yeah.
Loop,
Yeah.
loop to loop.
We'll
Okay.
do a wraparound.
so yeah, so Hammond is retiring. And then we have our opening credits. So Hammond is packing up his office, and Jack comes in to talk him out of leaving because he's not buying it. He's like, just because we ran into a little bit of trouble, like we've been presumed dead before. He says this. He's like, multiple times various
Mhm.
people of the team have been presumed dead, and this is the moment that you're choosing? Like, this is weird.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so Hammond tells Jack he doesn't have to explain himself. He kind of pulls rank. And this has been long time coming because when he took over the SGC, remember, it wasn't an active Stargate program. He was just guarding like shit that was covered up in like drapes and sheets and stuff. And it was supposed to
Mhm.
be like this quick assignment on his way to retirement. And it turned into this like adventure. Jack brings up the fact that he himself had been retired, and there are some things worth coming back for. But Hammond is like, I've had enough. I'm tired of this. He says his farewell to the rest of SG-1, and we have this really funny moment with Teal'c. He says, on Chulak, when a great warrior retires from the battlefield, it's custom to sing a song of lament. Fortunately, we are not on Chulak, because you thought for a moment, like, is Teal'c gonna break into song?
I know. That's where my voice of an angel came from because I was like, "Oh, Teal'c, I love it."
I
He's just
bet.
like, "Nope."
Yeah,
What
I
if he
bet
does
he
have a
would
great voice?
sound very nice, yeah.
Yeah.
So we see the arrival of the new big cheese. Everyone is interested to see who it could be, and basically to be like, is this guy gonna be a dick? Like, Daniel kind of skirts around it, and Jack is like, you want to know if he's gonna be a hard ass? Is that what it is? And Daniel was like, I didn't really want to say it like that, but yeah, basically. So we
Mhm.
have generic looking stern old white man who introduces himself as Major General Bauer, and he's straight to the point and leaves. He is just like, what up? It's gonna be great. Bye. Like, that was
Mhm.
it. Um,
Mhm.
so we have this bit of dialogue. Like, Daniel is talking to Sam as they're going on her way to on their way to her lab, and he says, "I don't know. I guess I was expecting a little bit something more inspiring." And Sam says, "I guess when you spend that much time at the Pentagon, it's easy to become a bureaucrat." And then they walk into her lab where General Bauer is standing right there, like probably
Like,
overhearing
"Ooh."
exactly what she just said. And he says, or a politician, depends on where your interests lie. So we find out he
Ugh.
came from the Pentagon. And Bauer tells Sam he's gone over all of her work with the Nakoda reactors and how it can amplify explosions when combined with nuclear properties. He also gives the party line of like we've heard before, like SGC hasn't provided anything truly tangible to benefit Earth, which he's kind of like not wrong. This Nakoda reactor is kind of the first tangible thing that they've been able to produce. They do have like the X30 whatever, but then that was kind of a disaster because like
Mhm.
the Gould technology went haywire. But he's not wrong. Like, it still has been more of like a culturally adventurous learning adventure that not necessarily has produced too many tangible benefits. Enough to
Sure.
satisfy the US military, at least. I'll say that. Like, that's who they're trying to satisfy here. And we all know they are a hungry beast. Um,
Mhm.
so they've been working on a device designed specifically to take advantage of this Nakoda enhancing effect, and he wants Sam to take part in this operation. When she asks about her other SG-1 duties, he tells her she's been reassigned. Womp womp. There goes the first brick
Boo.
of SG-1 being removed.
Boo.
Daniel protests. Bauer tells him that he also is being reassigned, that an archaeologist has no place on the front line. He'll be a consultant and go off-world only as needed, which again, like, not wrong. But
That's
I'm sure, like, they put
no.
Daniel through, like, the ringer and, like, gave him certain classes or whatever to, like, make sure he's up to par
Right.
physically.
Also,
Well, of course he
archaeologists
is.
are all field work, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
gotta be
Well,
out
you have to, but also, like, there's a couple things in his language that already, like, are very clear in the tone shift, obviously, but just the general approach of him saying it's the front line. Well, you refer to the front line when you're in a war, right? Like,
Mhm.
so the front line in this war. So obviously, yeah, an archaeologist is not supposed to be on the front line of a war, but the fact that he even positions it that way of his like intense military like agenda is immediately problematic because that
Yeah.
wasn't the tone before. It's to go out and explore and also bring back and to study, but it wasn't to go out to go to war and be a war machine with the fucking galaxy. But those two things immediately when I was like, oh, the first time doing like, oh, this is gonna go bad
Well, it's already he's downplaying the significance of the need for a cultural expert. He is looking at it
Correct.
purely as that military asset. Without Daniel, like he is the link of communication between
Mm-hmm.
off-world cultures, new and old alike, ones that we're familiar with and ones that we're not. He is that bridge because Jack
Mm-hmm.
can't do it. He he really can't fucking do it. Sam can't always like Teal'c maybe be able to help and provide some of that like lore and backstory because he's got that common space person knowledge that we all love. But Daniel is the one who can really read people culturally and see what matters to them and see what they value and be able to connect with them and make it so that they want to be allies with Earth. Like he is
Correct.
that like keystone. And Bauer just going in there and being like, hit the desk, bitch. Like you're not doing this anymore. That's already like he's already discounting the importance of that cultural knowledge that's needed. Um so that's it immediately like we all know like when a new boss comes in, we're afraid that this exact thing is going to happen and they're just going to like
Mm-hmm.
shake things up for this for the sake of shaking shit up and like doing things their way. But it does seem he has a very clear agenda going into
Mm-hmm.
this. Like he's been given some
Probably a
kind of
very influenced agenda.
yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because I wouldn't be
More
surprised
on that.
if, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if, I mean, beyond just, oh, an archaeologist shouldn't be on the front line. Like,
Mhm.
SG1 feels targeted in this, and that wouldn't be surprising, like, knowing what you
Correct.
find out at the end of the episode.
Yeah. So when Daniel protests Bauer, yeah, so then Bauer's like, you're getting a desk job. He squashes any protest and then he leaves immediately. Um, so now it's Jack's turn. He goes into Bauer's office and Bauer tells him to add more bullet points to his reports. Like, this is what he's picking at. He's like, paragraphs are too much for my brain. I need some bullet points, please.
Need some Chat GPT summary, AI summary up in there.
Like,
That's what
shotgun
it
this
needs.
report for me. Like, this is too much reading
Yeah.
for me.
Reading hard.
Yeah. So do you guys want to read this interaction
Yeah.
between O'Neill and Bauer?
Sure.
Yeah. I'll let you pick which one you want.
I'll be O'Neill.
Okay, cool.
General, I realize the format of my reports is of vital importance, and if you'd like, someday we can get together and talk about fonts and margins. But right now, I like to discuss the fact that you're dismantling my team without discussion.
General Hammond might have allowed you a certain latitude in his presence, Colonel, but you'd do well to watch your tone with me.
You know, General Hammond kept us together for a reason. The fact is, if it wasn't for SG1, right now you'd be sitting there with a snake in your head instead of your head up your ass.
Colonel, no one around here is above reproach. If it continues, your long history of insubordination will come to a swift and completely unspectacular end under my command. That I can assure you. Now, I suggest you take some time, think things over. Decide if you still want to be a part of this operation. Dismissed, Colonel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this, I like that Jack kind of reminded us in the beginning that he had been retired before and they pulled him out of retirement, which is kind of
Mhm.
what I attribute to his like, I don't give a fuck attitude. He's like, bitch, I retired. Like, what are they gonna do? Make
Mhm.
me retire again? Like,
Mhm.
like you can't hurt me. Like, I don't know. They really like the worst they can do is dismantle the team because like I don't know. Like again, he came out of retirement. It's not like he really has like tons of family that like they could do like
Mhm.
what we see later. So his insubordination does kind of track for him because he's like, I've got nothing to
Mhm.
lose. So we see Jack go to Hammond's house to give him the scoop. SG1 has been dismantled. Daniel has a desk job. Sam is working on a doomsday machine, and Teal'c is with SG3. And for once, Jack is like, I am being serious. Like, I'm not
Mhm.
making this up. And like, that kind of leaves Jack in the lurch. Like, what is he doing? I guess he was given like unofficial leave to be like, figure out what you want to do. In the meantime, like, Teal'c will be with SG3. But like, who is he in command of now?
Don't know, but I have this theory that like I think that the replacement wanted Jack to get all that because I think he wanted to just get him so like whatever that he could just dismiss him. I don't think he planned to reassign him. I think his plan was to
Get him
have
out.
him for insubordination and get him out. That was 100% the plan. I like
I see it.
My hot
Yeah.
take. Yeah.
Also likely very influenced.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. All of it was very targeted.
So we have dialogue between oh wait, not yet. So Jack presses Hammond again. And he's like,
Mhm.
I will never believe you just got the shits of this. I don't buy
Mhm.
it. Um
Mhm.
and Hammond says it's out of my hands, which this perks up Jack's ears. So then
Mhm.
we have this dialogue between Hammond and Jack.
Mhm.
Are you sticking to O'Neill or are you swapping?
I am. This was the
All right.
strategy. You get to hear me.
All right, we'll see if let me what did I usually say to get into it? I forget.
Cauliflower.
All right. Cauliflower.
Cauliflower.
Cauliflower. All right. 2 weeks ago, I was contacted by no, I can't do it. Blah, blah, blah. Cauliflower. Cauliflower.
That's fine. You don't need to do the
No.
accents.
Oh, yes, I do.
Yes,
Sarah.
we
Yes, I
do,
do.
Sarah.
It'll come through the whole thing. Okay. So 2 weeks ago, I was contacted by a representative of the NID. He suggested I should become more aggressive in my policy.
They have no jurisdiction over you.
They wanted me to help them gain access to off-world technology, which they're unable to do since we shut down their little side operation.
You told them to go to hell.
Of course. Then he told me if I didn't cooperate, there would be consequences. The next day, 2 men in plain clothes driving a black unmarked car picked up my granddaughters from school.
I don't believe it.
They took them for a little ride, then brought them home. The girls were fine, but I got the message. We're talking about an organization as powerful as the CIA. These people are above the law. I can't protect my family 24 hours a day. I had no choice.
Of course not.
Don't get yourself into trouble over this, Jack.
You know me, sir.
He's definitely going to get himself in trouble. But there was when Jack said, "I don't believe it," that's when like the sinister music, like
Oh, yeah.
it got real serious
It did.
because yeah. Also, complaint. I don't know if you noticed this, Wells. The fucking children laughing in the background noise was killing me because it was like the same. Oh my god, it was so fake to me. First of all, children don't laugh that much without actually talking or saying. It was just like watch it again and just listen to it. It was just like constant laughing and giggling and like they were just standing there like fucking playing patty cake or something. It was so
Yeah, it was
fake.
a bit much. They were trying to sell the kids were in trouble thing. I get it, but yeah, it was a bit.
Yeah. The Foley artist.
And
Like,
if you
we gotta
catch yourself on it, then you can't hear like anything else. Like
Yeah.
if you start down that path, you're like shit.
Yeah. Because we see when he goes to Hammond's house, like we see him like greet the children, like they know who he is. They're like, Uncle Jack, blah blah blah, or whatever. But then we see them kind of out the window playing in the background the entire time, and they're just like, I think what episode was it? It was with Marin. I forget what it was called, but like the generic children playing sounds after like they. I'm just like, this is so bad, but it is what it is. But it bothered me. Anyway, we cut to Jack entering some kind of prison where we see none other than Mayborne. And remember, last time we saw him was Watergate. He didn't really have too much involved, but like he was working with the Russians, and we don't really know how he got into that or what happened. So you're kind of left to wonder how did he end up here? Because we didn't see him get arrested at the end of Watergate. Like nothing was really mentioned about him. So it's like, how did we get from Watergate to here? What has transpired in between? Cut to the SGC. Sam's bomb is coming along nicely, but they simply don't have enough Naquita. And Bauer's like, we'll just have to go to the shop, right, and pick some up, I guess. Because this planet has a bunch. And Sam is like, that planet is a Gould stronghold. But Bauer is willing to like attack and like send in people to get it and like fight people for it. Which is not really something that we have seen too much of before. We kind of saw it in Spirits when Hammond was like, fuck them spirits. We're going to get our whatever. I forget what it was called. And we see how well that went over. So yeah, Bauer's like, we're just going to go shoot some people up and get some.
Because, that's the smart thing to do.
Yeah. So it's just like, you can already tell this guy is just like, bad news. And he's way different than how Hammond operates things. Back with Jack and Mayborne, we've got some dialogue between the two of them.
I'm assuming I'm Mayborne.
Hey, it works.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Why should I tell you?
Because I can help you.
I've been convicted of treason. What can you do?
Air Force One and I go way back.
I suppose I'll have to trust you.
I wasn't going to say it.
It's really very simple. When you shut down the off-world operation with the second gate, you cut off the NID's access to alien technology.
That's when they sent you to work for the Russians.
The Pentagon forced the Russians to deep six their gate in exchange for continued sharing of information and technology.
We have the only operational gate.
Exactly. The NID thinks Hammond and policies that govern the Stargate program are too soft.
So this Bauer guy is part of it?
Truth is, I don't know. I've been out of the loop for a little while, but it's possible he's just a patsy, unwittingly maneuvered into position because he's got the right mentality.
All sounds so cloak and daggery.
You're special ops, Colonel Jack. Why do you always pretend to smell like roses?
Hey, I never threatened a 2-star general by kidnapping his grandkids.
Don't pretend to be so naive either.
How do I get him to back off?
You really want to play in my sandbox, Jack?
Tell me what I have to do.
Quid pro quo, Jack.
You're facing the death penalty. The best I can do is put in a good word, maybe recommend they commute your sentence to life.
You'll have to do a lot more than that. I can get you the information you need. Names, proof of certain influential people's involvement with the NID.
Keep talking.
My word is useless. You want hard evidence, you're going to have to get me out of here for a few days.
Are you nuts? Do you know how many strings I'd have to pull to make that happen?
One big one. And I know you're prepared to do it, Jack. You wouldn't be here otherwise. I won't bother to say you can trust me. I love
Very
this dialogue with
interesting.
them.
Yeah, so interesting. First of all, like I'm stuck on the fact that Mayborne was convicted of treason and is facing the death penalty because it's like, where are all
Mhm.
your NID buddies? He was following somebody's orders. Like he wasn't just doing this on his own. He had orders from higher up, and he is just the fucking fall guy. He is
Yeah.
the sacrificial lamb, so to speak.
Mhm.
And we see this in society today. It happens when like someone is up for a crime that we see happen all the time, but because there's so much public outrage, they're like going extra hard on this person. And I think of like I don't know if I want to get into this or not, but like when a cop is being convicted of something that we see happen all the time, and because there's so much public outrage, they're actually like it's like he's the fall guy. Like
Mhm.
all of
Mhm.
every like normally it's like
There's
all
no
of the
actual systemic change or impact
correct,
to the
yes.
to the organization. There's always a scapegoat, but Melbourne knows that and is just because he's not going to change the policy. So he has accepted that fate of this is who he is in that
Yeah.
scheme. He's not outing anybody else above him. He knows better than that.
Yeah, because
But-
that'll just get him killed quicker.
Correct. But it's just to your point, it happens quite a bit, and
It's
they
a
just
scapegoat. Everyone
So-
dogpiles onto them, and it's like, we don't agree with that. That's horrible. We would never. And it's like, but you do. You're just
Mhm.
covering your
It's
ass for the
systemically
public.
a problem.
Yeah. Like you're not willing to make any systemic changes. You're just like willing to crucify this one person and have them be your scapegoat, your sacrificial lamb, so that like you can look good for this 5 minutes.
Yep.
Not
Yep.
even look good. Look halfway mediocre. I don't know.
I never
Yeah.
thought the leopards would eat my face.
Correct.
But the
Mayborne's
my God.
face currently leopard food.
Leopard food.
Yeah. But that's also like when he knowingly goes into working with these kind of people, like, and I'm sorry to make it about fucking Harry Potter, but this is what happens when you get into like with a bunch of Slytherins, okay? You got to watch your back because they don't always, they're not as trustworthy, it happens. But
here's the thing. Like Mayborne at the end of this says, like, I'm not even gonna say you can trust me. Like, you don't trust me, but also this is your only chance forward. And like I
Yeah.
appreciate that transparency more than fucking anything. Like, bet. All right, let's go. I know I gotta keep questioning you. Cool. I'm good. Like, but we gotta move somewhere. We gotta do something. So
I respect it. Yeah. And I think
Yep.
Jack can also like respect that too, because he's like, you're not trying to bullshit me. He's kind of being honest and straight up, but also like I'm not going to say you can trust me because I know you're not going to. I'm not going to waste my time trying to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Teal'c returns with SG3. They are injured. One of them is dead. Like Bauer asks, "Where's Major so and so?" And Teal'c is like, "He's dead." And this was all just to get this Nakuda. And then Bauer asks right away, he's like, "Where's the Nakuda?" Like he doesn't give a fuck that somebody just
He even
died.
says good after Teal'c says he like
Yeah.
thinks he got enough or whatever. He's like, oh, good. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I cared about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge tone shift between Hammond and this guy. Because the mission was bullshit to begin with. The mission was just to go get some more Nakuda. So they could test a bomb. This isn't even a bomb they need to like do some kind of
Mhm.
like safety preventative, like we're under attack,
Just
we
for
need
a
a bomb.
test.
It's for a test. Somebody died
Mhm.
so that you can test a bomb. Wild. But I know like people have died for much, much less than this.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh yeah.
so you see Teal'c is like, I hate this guy. He gives him like a death stare and like just walks away after he's like, I think we got enough. So somehow Jack gets Mayborne out and Mayborne takes him to an apartment. It is very single man living alone vibes, like no furniture, a lonely computer, a mini fridge full of beer and mustard. Like it's one of his like safe houses, you think?
Mhm. Yeah.
He even has mail like coming to him under a different name. And Mayborne boots up that computer and we have some more dialogue between the two of them.
I also love this one because it absolutely dates it so much
Mm.
because like trying to like think about how
Floppy
back
disks.
then the whole thing just kills me. But I love it. It's very nostalgic.
We'd have
Okay,
flash
sorry.
drives now.
what are you doing
Accessing NID files on the internet.
on the internet?
The organization is made up of cells. They communicate with each other by accessing bulletin boards online. Information is deposited in any number of firewall protected floating servers and accessed using decoding software and passwords.
Yada yada blah blah. Why do we have to come here for this?
Because the decoding software happens to be on this computer. They've deactivated. Oh, I'll say that and then pause, put some stuff in. And he goes, "Ugh, they've deactivated my password.
Now there's a shocker.
Ugh, I'll try to hack in through the back door."
They always try to hack in through the back door in the 90s, 2000s,
Always.
early 2000s.
Always
Yeah.
the back door.
So yeah, and he uses this floppy disk that I think he kept in his
Yeah.
fridge, and he's like, I have to use this, or if I boot it up, it'll fry without this floppy disk. I'm like, okay, I don't know how any of that works, but
Okay.
sure.
We've
we're
come a long way since then. It's kind
Um,
of wild.
suspending my disbelief for that one. So back at the base, Sam tells Bauer that the bomb is complete. Bauer gives Sam a gate address for the test site. She sees that it's a planet that supports plant and animal life and protests. She's like, why would we send this? Like, this planet is not like it. Why would we do this? Bauer tells her there is no life within 50 miles, but Sam's like, that might not be good enough because, like, we've never tested this before. We don't know what the effects are going to be. This is bad.
Mm-hmm.
But Bauer doesn't care. The whole point is to see how destructive the bomb will be. So he's kind of like, I don't care, like, if it's destructive. I want it to be destructive. Like, we need to see what we can do. So back with Jack and Mayborne, Mayborne asks him what he plans to do with this list of names that are linked to the NID. And he warns Jack that he can't just take down the entire NID because they're going to kill him for trying. This is where Mayborne's like, you need to stop being a Gryffindor and be more of a Slytherin bitch like me because you can't just, pardon the terminology, you can't just blow your whole load on like one go. Like you have to be smart about this and play the game like they're playing it. So Mayborne tells Jack if he sits on the information, he can leverage it to get Hammond reinstated. You gotta play it smart. You can't like, and this is some of the
play that long
problem.
game.
Listen,
Long game.
this is some of the problems that I have with current politics. This whole like noble taking the high road. You can't always take the high road. You can't.
No.
When they go low, you gotta go lower.
Well, and this is again back to our conversation at the very beginning is you gotta you got to take a step back. You got to look at everything, and you can't just win the battle. You got to win the war. So you can't go in guns a-blazing. You got to be strategic. You're playing chess. You're making moves. And I appreciate in Mayborne that he's got that kind of nudge to Jack. Like, this is a time where, like, you're going to have to play chess with this.
Right.
So
The NID
totally.
doesn't care about how fucking noble you are because they're
No.
not. They don't care. They will continue to play dirty
They're
and
fucking
play
dirty.
cheap. And you have to get on that level if you're going to get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Just then, a vehicle approaches and men in black start to approach the building. Like they pile out of the vehicle, like generic black SUV with generic men in black clothes. Mayborne fries the hard drive. We see the men enter the building, but Jack and Mayborne have escaped. They steal one of the government vehicles, and Jack takes one of the goons' gun. Like, they sneak up. Like, Mayborne is kind of like the bait, and like you see him cross the road, and a guy like gets out, and Jack sneaks up on him.
I mean, they make a good team.
Yeah,
Not gonna lie.
that's what I'm
They make a
saying.
good
Like,
team.
they do. They really do. Bauer and Sam prepare to test the bomb. Jack calls Daniel, and Daniel fills him in on what's going on. We don't know if Bauer is still part of the NID or not. Like what Mayborne said, he could be part of it, or he could just be some shill that they fed information to. And it's like, this guy is a hard ass enough for like us to work with him.
You know who makes me think of?
Hmm.
Like JD Vance.
JD Vance.
Anyway, we can keep going.
There's definitely a separate group chat going on that he's been excluded from. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
Barf. So they're just like, either way, he's taking shortcuts, he's being stupid, it's dangerous. He is a threat, whether it's he's trying to be or not. Like, he's not listening to his people. He thinks he knows better. He's going to do whatever he wants or whatever he's being ordered to do. Which I get the ordered part. It is the military. Like, you can see Sam is struggling with this because, like, she hates that she has to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But she also does not have a choice. This is her job. She is in the military. She can't just be like, ew, no, I don't want to do that. Like, she has to.
Yep.
Which sucks. She has not been retired before like Jack has, so she does not have that, like, I don't give a fuck attitude. Like, this is her life, this is her career, everything she's worked for. So Mayborne tells Jack that the only way that they will see this through is that they have to get their hands dirty. He's like, just he's housing down some hot dog while he's doing this too. He's like, you're gonna sit here and watch me eat. Like,
he's been locked up for a while. That hot dog tastes real good.
It's hitting the spot. So they have to connect somebody with significant influence to these online websites that are NID run. The only way to do that is straight through to one of the high-profile associates. And who do we think that will be? Mayborne's like, it's an old friend. And if you read the opening credits, you would know
guest
who that will be. So back at the SGC, Daniel tells Sam and Bauer that this test needs to stop. The aerial survey showed evidence of an old Gould mining operation, and even though it's probably been shut down for several thousand years, there could still be significant amounts of naquita present on the planet. Bauer says, my soil samples indicate only minute traces. Sam says the geological survey I read said there was none. They are giving her, like, yeah. And I bet she's pissed because she's like she did not get all of the information needed. They are giving her blatantly false information that she is using to create a very destructive bomb. Yeah. So he was like, she's probably thinking like, what else are they lying to me about? So we have this dialogue. It's Sam, Bauer, and I think that's it. Yeah, it's just Sam and Bauer.
All right.
Cool. I don't think you realize the implications of this. Or maybe you do.
Are you making an accusation, Major?
You knew all along, didn't you? You were hoping for a chain reaction with the naquita in the soil. Sir, that entire planet could be destroyed.
That possibility has been considered. Most worlds occupied by the Gould do have a high incidence of naquita. This could be a very effective weapon against them.
There's only one problem, sir. When that bomb goes off, we'll still be connected to that planet by an active Stargate, and we've seen radiation, gravitational effects, even time distortions translated back through an outgoing wormhole.
According to my intelligence, we should be able to get just enough data before the Stargate is destroyed and the wormhole disconnected.
Who provided this intelligence?
That is not your concern.
Sir, we've seen the Stargate survive a direct hit from a meteorite. The truth is, we have no way of knowing what might happen.
A risk assessment has been made and deemed acceptable. End of discussion.
So again,
Fuck.
he's just being stupid. He's not listening to Sam. Like, did you
Fuck
not
this
read the
man.
wormhole time dilation report? What the fuck was that not
Ew.
bulleted to your sufficiency that you like? Oh, too many
There's too many
paragraphs.
words. Too many.
Too many words. Well, and I know in our generalization of this, I know he's more symbolic of not the person I said that he was, but I think it's both of them. I think they're just fucking idiots and are reminding me of our political powers that be. Like, it's just fucking just listen to the intellectuals.
Yeah.
Get your fucking ego out of the way.
So do you think Bauer is like he's clearly gotten intelligence from the NID? Do you think he is with the NID or just someone stupid enough to just follow orders and do whatever he's being told?
Personally, I think he's a sacrifice. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think
Go
he's
ahead.
been convinced that like this is 100% what needs to be done. Like
Mhm.
he seems pretty genuine in his like this is what we have to do to protect, ourselves or whatever. To the point where I think he was just kind of, propagandized or whatever, by the NID.
I would agree. Also, considering his response once things go south, and the fact that he apologizes, we'll get to that. But
Yeah.
he understands the gravity. So I personally think he is
Yeah.
not in it for the long haul of the NID. I think he was in it for being kind of convinced this was the thing to do. Because if he were long-term NID, he would not have such empathy when it goes wrong.
Yeah. And he's been, conditioned and targeted for a while. Like they knew who they were going for,
And again, he's gonna be the fall guy. Like
Mhm.
I don't know if we ever get a follow up on him, but like he's gonna get the shit for whatever's going down at the SGC, like this horrible incident of like your first assignment after Hammond left and it was almost a whole disaster. Like you fucked up, even though he was just following orders. Like he's gonna be the scapegoat. So Mayborne and Jack approach a house that is in the middle of a party. It is Senator Kinsey's house. He takes them to his study. They meet with his wife, and they're like, "We're Starsky and Hutch." Haha. Like they see his dog. And there's like a whole bunch of like high profile important people, like Congress and like the governor of Maryland or whatever.
Okay. All I can think is about the dog. Like all I can think. Oh yeah. Like now I can't take that scene serious because like all I can envision in my head is the memory of him at Basingstoke getting off the stage and laying on the floor to pet that dog. Like
there was no acting in the dog petting scene. I don't feel
no.
at all.
No, that was a genuine like this dog must be part of this scene.
They probably like they're like, we need to move on, yo. Like, can you stop petting the dog?
Yeah.
Oh, now I can understand that absolutely probably happened because like that's all I can imagine is him jumping off that stage and literally laying on the floor with like not a care in the world.
Yep.
Wait.
Yeah. So back at the SGC, the bomb test goes off. The map is destroyed, but the wormhole doesn't disconnect, and they begin to read high levels of gamma radiation.
Shocker.
It's almost as if the experts predicted that.
Wow. I'd be like, I fucking told you, bitch. God. Nobody listens to me. Bauer orders the gate to be shut down, but they can't shut the wormhole down. Sam tells Walter to close the iris. This keeps the radiation down, but they can't guarantee that it will hold because the radiation will heat up the iris and like eventually melt it away. Sam tells Bauer they need to evacuate. You can tell Bauer is in way over his head. He was positive the gate would be destroyed. Sam orders the evacuation. She's doing all the fucking work here. She's the one
Mhm.
telling Walter to close the iris. She's the one telling Bauer they need to evacuate. She's the one giving the message to everyone to evacuate.
Mhm.
Why are women
She's
doing
doing
all
that
the
labor.
emotional
I think
labor?
the entire Earth is just real lucky that like Sam isn't petty, because
God, yeah.
because otherwise you could have just been like, "Your problem, man. You fix it.
Mhm.
Bye." Like,
Mhm.
I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
If she had a death wish, maybe but
No.
it was just so frustrating because not only was she right, but now she's left to handle and clean up this mess and hold this
Mm.
fucking guy's hand to be like, we need to
Mhm.
evacuate. And then she's like, everyone evacuate or whatever. Like, she's the one telling people.
By
She's
his
the one-
orders. She even uses his name. Like, she's like, I'll
Mhm.
go ahead and say you said to do it since you agreed, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. It's just so frustrating. So, like, great. Now I gotta hold this fucking guy's hand through this crisis that he created, even though I told him not to do it. Like,
Mhm. I
women
know.
everywhere breathing a collective sigh of frustration.
Mhm.
So Bauer asks Sam what's going to happen, but she's like, I don't know. I
Hold
told
on.
you I didn't know what was going to happen because we didn't have enough information on
Mhm.
this. So back at Kinsey's, we have some dialogue. It's Kinsey, O'Neill, and Mayborne. So I will do Kinsey. Everyone else can
Okay.
keep their roles. Kinsey says, Gentlemen, I have the Undersecretary of State, the Governor of Maryland, half of the United States Congress waiting for me in my living room. So let's make this quick. What in God's name could I possibly do for you?
We need some information on the NID.
The NID?
Snaky government agency involved in all sorts of illegal covert operations, like blackmailing Air Force generals.
You are making less and less sense to me as the seconds are passing away, along with my patience.
Don't tell me you're not aware of all the money that they funneled into your reelection campaign.
If you have a problem with my campaign finances, why don't you take it up with the Federal Elections Commission?
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
And aren't you supposed to be in a federal prison, Colonel?
Colonel O'Neill graciously asked the president to help me dig up some information about my former associates.
And you trust this man?
No.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, but this conversation has lost all amusement for me. I have a party to get back to.
We're not going anywhere.
Excuse me?
I'm not leaving until I get what I came for.
Oh, and what are you going to do?
Well, I was thinking about shooting you.
And he pulls
Jack,
out a gun.
what are you doing?
Getting a little
Man.
dirty for you, Mayborne?
Yeah. So Jack is like, Mayborne was like, no, not like that.
Yeah, but like too far,
dude,
too far,
whoa.
too far. But do it, but too far. I didn't tell you to do it, but yes.
But I like it. But
But
I gotta say, too far. But I really
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. So yeah, so you can tell Kinsey's involved in this. The NID has funneled money into his campaign reelection. He knows a lot about like what's going on with Mayborne, how he's supposed to be in prison, but he's playing stupid. And Jack is like, okay, fine, I'm gonna shoot you. From a different control room in the SGC, Sam, Bauer, Teal'c, and Daniel check on the gate. The iris is still holding, but it's heating up. You can tell it's like glowing red. Sam says it's possible that we turn the planet into a giant ball of superheated plasma. It could power the gate for months. The self-destruct wouldn't ensure the gate has been destroyed, and even if it's buried under a mountain, it would still be pumping out radiation. Because Bauer's like, we'll just self-destruct the gate. And it's like, that's not going to work. We can't guarantee that it's going to work. So there is a chance the gate could power down on its own at the 38-minute mark, but this is untested circumstances. We don't know if that's going to happen. There have been cases where the gate has run longer than the 38-minute mark. Season 2, episode whatever number, A Matter of Time, where they were connected to the black hole. Back at Kinsey's, we have some more dialogue between Kinsey, O'Neill. It's just Kinsey and O'Neill, so you guys got that.
Yep, I'll take Kinsey. All right. How dare you come into my house waving a gun?
Not waving, pointing. Sit down.
I hope you realize, Colonel, you are making the biggest mistake of your life. When this is over, I promise you'll regret the day we ever met.
Oh, that day is come and gone, Senator.
If you don't care about your own career, maybe you should think about your friends.
What's that mean?
You mess with me, Dr. Jackson will be out of the SGC permanently, and Major Carter will be scrubbing toilets in some Air Force weather station in Alaska. And as for the alien, Teal, well, let's just say I know some bioengineers in the Department of Defense who would love to get their hands on his symbiote.
I just want to say, Major Carter will be scrubbing toilet. What the fuck? That
Those
gave
would
me the
be-
biggest ick.
But they would
Mhm.
be like the fucking most pristine toilets that you have ever
This is true, they
used
would
in
be.
your life.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But
Because
just
she don't half-ass anything.
no,
Nope.
she whole asses everything.
Mm-hmm.
So while this is all going down, Mayborne is getting on his computer and we see that he needs a password. Jack correctly guesses that it is his dog's name, Oscar, which kind of like links back to the whole dog interaction because Kenzie's like, I have a wife and blah 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 kids and blah 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 grandkids. Like, good luck guessing my password. Haha. And Jack does it on the first try.
Nowadays, they would just walk into his computer and it would be
Mhm.
stored in his keychain already. So there wouldn't
Yeah.
even be the conversation. He was just
They
Or
would
it's
just take
like,
it.
or it's like Face ID. Put your face in front of this camera right now.
Mhm.
give me
With
that
your
finger.
eyeballs.
Like it's
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kenzie's online activities connect him to NID actions over the last year and a half, including the secret operation that Mayborne ran out of Area 51, the involvement with the Russians, and the threats to Hammond.
Aw,
So
fuck no.
we've got O'Neill and Kinsey again. That's it. There's no Mayborne, so you guys got this.
Yep.
You're a piece of work, Kenzie. Try to shut down the SGC. You make this big speech about how much you hate secret organizations, and then you jump in bed with the NID. What is that?
Oh, I still think the gate is a. Oh, it just jumped. Hold on. There's someone in there. All right. Oh, I still think the gate is a Pandora's box, and I still think it should be buried forever. But as long as it's open and as long as it's a threat to this planet, then I'm damn well going to make sure it's used the way it should be used to defend God's creation.
Oh, blow the rhetoric up somebody else's nose. You're nothing but a power-hungry hypocrite.
The only currency in this town is power. So if I have to shake hands with the devil to do the Lord's work, then so be it.
You self-righteous son of a bitch. Where do you get off?
Judge not lest you be judged. I read the mission reports that came out of that mountain. You play with fate of this planet on a daily basis.
I'm doing the job I was asked to do. I doubt very much your constituents could say the same about you.
Oh, please. Given the chance, half of all American citizens won't even vote. And the half that do vote are too stupid to know what they're doing.
Which
Mhm.
explains how you got elected.
In order to expose me, you're going to have to compromise the secrecy of the SGC. Are you really willing to do that? And then, what are you going to do? Take down the whole NID?
Nope. Here's the deal. Get them to reinstate Hammond, or this disc goes to the press.
It'll never see the light of day.
Well, I really don't think you'll see the light of day if your secret friends find out you're the weak link.
You learned to play hardball pretty fast, didn't you, Colonel?
I had a good teacher.
Yay,
Aw.
Mayborne! He's like,
Yes.
thank God he got him again. Jack, like, he needs to play it smart. He can't just be all noble and pure and like, I'm going to
Mhm.
expose you, because where's the merit in that? It's just going to be covered up. It's just going to be swept under the rug, explained away. But if you hold it over
Mhm.
their head, you got him. So we see the goons pull up outside Kinsey's. He demands the disc. The goons won't storm the house with the party going on. Luckily for them, the party is still going on. But they still have to get out. So Jack pulls out his phone and starts to make a phone call. We see the 38-minute mark pass at the gate. Didn't shut down. So we're back at the SGC. Bauer goes to leave like a little bitch-ass chicken. It's like, I'll
Mhm.
go inform the president on the surface. There's no point in sticking around. Yeah, because
Well,
you fucked it all up.
And I love it because Carter makes some sort of comment of like, yeah, I'm sure it'll be much safer up there. Like,
Yeah.
rolls her eyes. Like,
Mhm.
fuck you, man.
So Sam goes to follow Bauer. Teal'c kind of sticks around for a second, and we see that the gate does shut down after a couple more seconds. And Teal'c is like, hold on, guys, it's fine. It went down. Bauer does say to Sam, "For what it's worth, Major, I'm sorry." I'll tell you how much it's worth. Fucking nothing. Absolutely
Mhm.
nothing. And Sam also agrees, and she says nothing to him and just
Mhm.
gets up and walks away.
Yep.
Not a damn word.
Yep.
Love that for you, Queen. Because
Yep.
honestly, like,
Mhm.
she could have gotten reprimanded for that. Like, he could have been like, I didn't order you dismissed or whatever. Like, you have not been dismissed. Like,
Yeah.
he could have been a dick about it. But he's probably just happy that he's not going to die and he lets it slide.
Mhm.
Jack, Mayborne, and Kinsey begin to leave his house or on his front porch, and they are greeted by the press. Jack leaked information to media outlets that Kinsey was planning on running for president. They use the cover from the press to quietly make their exit. Very smart.
Smart.
They
Very
even
smart.
wave
Because-
at the guys that can't attack them, right?
yes.
They're like,
And-
"Hey."
Yep. And Kinsey sees the goons and he like kind of orders, like he kind of like makes a hand gesture of like, no, it's fine, don't.
Mhm.
Because the press is there. He doesn't want a press
Mhm.
fiasco happening.
Yeah.
So cut back to the SGC. Hammond is in his rightful place in
Mm.
his office, unpacking again, setting up his office and all his decorations and stuff.
No, I hear me.
He's so yeah. I love it because he's just like, Jack, what do I owe you for this? Like it's just like he knows Jack did it. Like
Yeah, and that just shows that he didn't really want to leave. Like
no.
his hand was forced. And Jack says,
100%.
continued latitude, patience, and understanding. So just be yourself, sir. Hammond's phone rings. It is for Jack. We cut to Mayborne. He is somewhere in the tropics with some generic tropical music playing in the background.
God, that
Really
got to
loves
me. That music
Hannibal
got to me.
Lecter.
Yes,
This whole thing is like, even he says quid pro quo at one point to Jack
does,
in the
yes.
episode, but
Yeah.
like how this end and he even like walks away, like it's so Silence of the Lambs coded.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he tells Jack that he emailed himself a copy of the incriminating evidence before he saved it to the disk for Jack. So he has a copy of it too. Of course, he's got to cover himself and have his own leverage. We love
Only
that.
fair.
Smart. He's so smart. Listen,
Mhm.
hate him all you want. He's smart.
Mhm.
Kinsey felt obligated to get him transferred to a nicer facility while he awaits execution, and Mayborne says made things simpler after that. So I don't know if that means like he escaped,
Mhm.
or like he kind of barked. Okay, so he escaped. So then we have some dialogue between O'Neill and Mayborne, and a little bit of Hammy at the end, which I'll just get that.
Sure. Why didn't you try to escape when you were with me?
Oh, come on, Jack. You trusted me. I didn't want you to look bad for the president. Besides, you're too good to have let it happen.
What are you going to do now?
Well, short term, I think I'll have a few margaritas. After that, who knows?
Yeah, right.
Thanks for all your help.
So the phone hangs up.
General, about what you owe me.
Anything I can do?
Well, nothing right now, but one day I may ask you to buy back my soul.
And then we cut to an exterior of a tropical island during the day. Mayborne puts his arms around a local woman and dances off to the sound of the steel band. Tropical, like the steel drum sound.
Mhm.
He's just like dancing off into the sunsets. We love to see it. And cut to credits. And that is our episode.
Mhm.
So many layers to it. So I didn't really like put any themes and discussions in the note, but I know we can find stuff to talk about. But let's do a comments check. Let's check on our comments and see what we've got going on. I think we have a new person in here, right?
We do. I'll get to that one. Our John, at some point when talking about Jack smelling like roses, Jack 100% smells like Old Spice. But which Old Spice?
Like the original? Like
Like OG Old Spice?
That just reminded me when we were at Sam's Club today, we saw dude wipes, and I was like, yes, we need to make wiping your ass manly again for those who are
Uh-huh.
afraid.
Funny story about dude wipes. one of my musician friends in town who has kind of started getting going on TikTok singing like funny versions of other people's songs, and that she did one about poo and stuff. And Dude Wipes actually sponsored her and sent her a whole bunch of Dude Wipes.
That's
Um,
amazing.
it
That's
was
pretty
great.
funny.
Yeah,
At least they
it
have a
was
sense
pretty-
of humor. I'm just
Yeah.
like, you know what's more manly than having a shitty ass? Using our dude wipes.
I
Like,
feel like it's almost like the equivalent. It's kind of the taking back the pink tax to me. Things
That's
like Dude
true.
Wipes. It's like,
yeah.
oh no, a guy can be so insecure about wipes that we can call them Dude Wipes and maybe
And
charge
they
a
will
little
buy
more,
it.
and they will buy it. So
You
for
know
me,
what?
I'm totally all fine with it. Like,
That's fair. Make
Yeah.
toxic masculinity work for you.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly.
Love it.
Megan H said children's laughter is limited to 30-second increments.
That's pushing it too, Megan.
I
Good
think
God.
30 is a bit much, yeah.
Mhm.
And Scott did mention something about Kinsey, specifically Ronnie Cox, and I do agree. Funny you mentioned Kinsey. Ronnie Cox probably would have played the random outside general if he wasn't already playing Kinsey, because he does in the Next Generation. He plays that same character that takes over on the Enterprise D, because Picard has to go on a secret mission, but he can't talk about it. So he
Oh,
comes
interesting.
to Jellicoe and like upends everybody's schedules and everything. Like, he's very much the same type of guy, except he was, I think, more justified in some of his decisions, like telling Counselor Troy that she needs to actually wear a uniform like everybody else. I agree. I'm sorry.
She
But
can't wear her purple spandex
No.
pants. What is it?
no,
One piece?
she's an officer. She should be wearing an officer's uniform.
What is that called? It's
Sorry.
not like a bodysuit. It's like a purple
Yeah.
one piece bodysuit.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with all of Jellicoe's decisions, but he butts heads so hard with Riker, especially, that it's that same sort of dynamic. And yes, we have a new person in the chat. I don't know if they're still there or not. Spike's Echo. We just found you guys, fellow women SG1 fans, and I know Christina, you said it in the comments too. So two she's and a they, but welcome to our ridiculous, fun podcast. I hope you stick around and continue to watch or listen after this. Now that you've seen the shenanigans, welcome. We got a lot of really good people in the comments too, so hanging out is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think in that short blip, we definitely covered pretty much a good view of like who we are and what we stand for and all the things and the shenanigans. So
if you've made it through and you're still here, you got the right vibe.
And if you left, okay,
take it or leave it.
We are who we are.
Yeah. And of course, Megan, after Sam walked away without saying a word, you dropped your crown, Sam. You dropped your crown, which is
Queen of our
100%.
hearts, always, every day. Oh yeah, the dude wipes, Captain Swan, the dude wipes. They were like, "What the fuck are dude wipes? Is that a U.S. thing?" Yes, we have to convince men to wipe their asses here in the U.S.
Yes.
It's a epidemic.
Isn't it more
globally,
Sarah, now that you're thinking about it that way, though? Like, it makes you less mad, right?
It does make me less mad.
Yeah.
You're right. It's like we can,
like, dudes. They can't
like
even
get rid of your poop stains. Like, wipe your full fucking ass for once, please. Like, it's not that hard.
just can't just let the water run between your cheeks. You gotta get in there. That's the thing too. It's like, oh, I don't want to get near my butt. That's gay. Like that truly is the vibe.
Yeah, tax that behavior. Just tax the fuck out of that behavior. Go ahead. Go off, dude.
That's
wipes.
also why,
Do it.
like, all of the manly sense for like Old Spice or Axe body sprays, like gunmetal, Sharknado, or like whatever, like nonsense. Like at least the stuff that's marketed towards women is like lilac, rose water, like it's actual things, and the stuff marketed to dudes is just like this like intangible vibe of like, I don't even know.
My current deodorant is I like Old Spice and I like to use Old Spice, and the current one is literally called Captain, but it's you could just call it bergamot. Like, it's bergamot.
Oh, I do love bergamot though, a lot.
Yeah.
Also, sorry for anyone if you're hearing cat purrs. Scary has decided to make a 1 in a million like visitation. She never comes to show her face, so
Oh,
Like,
Megan
going
said
on here.
Kenzie would 100% need to use dude wipes. I think
Oh
that is
God,
true
yeah.
as well.
he definitely has a shitty ass.
Oh God,
I'm
yeah.
calling it. All right. Wow. Okay. I am pleasantly surprised. I went to the Axe body spray website, and the first three that come up: aqua bergamot, black vanilla, and blue lavender.
Yeah.
I am pleasantly surprised. Purple
Nice.
patchouli, black vanilla, spiced latte. Wow. Okay. Go off.
Mm-hmm.
Royal
Oh,
pineapple,
patchouli.
pure coconut. Like, I'm
Give me
not
some sandalwood.
seeing.
Patchouli's a little much.
That's a bit
for me.
much.
Sandalwood,
makes
It's a bit
nice.
much.
But
Alright,
then
Bergamot.
what
we're
else?
getting into the classics of like Phoenix. Something just called black.
But I also think it's
Dark
important to
temptation, anarchy, like that.
yes, but I think when it goes back to the conversation around like senses of hormones do impact our sensory absorption differently. And so I do think that when you mix certain scents with certain body types, it's important that you pay attention to how, just like with colognes or perfumes, everybody's like body chemistry reacts differently to different fragrances. And I do think on a spectrum of a pendulum swing, those who have more estrogen kind of present in their system respond and are balanced out a bit better by more florally, and those who might have a bit more testosterone chemically with other things, is a very general, do have different interactions and desired, but it's up to the person how they want their desired fragrance to be. But everybody's unique body chemistry reacts differently to these
does.
fragrances.
Yeah,
So like some
it
people
smells
need to
different.
neutralize one way and some people need to neutralize the other way. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
But that doesn't have
pleasantly
anything to do with
surprised.
the way it's marketed, though, because Sarah's talking about like the names of the things, and
Yeah.
like
oh yeah.
Not the
like
actual
how
smell.
it's like we can't tell the dude that it's gonna have this in it. We got to make it like macho.
Well, it's gotta
sounding
be
instead.
manly. It's gotta
Yeah,
be
Yeah.
macho.
yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it goes the other way too, like the unnecessarily marketing towards like, I remember it's like big pens for her, so my tiny girly hands can touch the pen. It's soft for my delicate female sensibilities. Like that's also unnecessary too. It's so dumb. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I like my pink shit, but like, don't make
But
me
it doesn't
pay
need
more
to
for that.
feel different than like if
Pink
it
in
were
and of
like
itself doesn't have to be a gendered color,
That's
but
true.
Mm-mm.
That's very
just
true.
society makes it. Pink used to actually be the
for
boys'
men.
color back in the day.
Yeah.
It's just
Have
all
you ever seen
marketing.
like old pictures of Victorian children and they look like
Yeah.
they're wearing dresses and like it's a boy child?
And they were
Like,
probably
just-
pink, like because
Yeah,
pink was the boys' color. Yeah.
It's all marketing. It's all just like how can we create a divide so we can sell more products, so we can do more, so we can get people feeling that they need to consume, that they need to adhere, put them in these whatever. I could go on another tangent and I don't think I have the energy to do it, but
Yeah.
it's stupid.
it's all
It's yeah.
Yeah.
It's the plight of a mother going through this too, raising a transgender child, is also like I have very like interesting like frustrations around the gendering of kids' clothes and like just the stupidity around it from that perspective too. So we can open that box another time.
yeah.
Oh,
But
I could go off about my
I
personal
know you
chapter.
can. Oh,
About like literally clerks telling me that I couldn't pick certain. Anyway, we don't have to go down that.
Yeah.
But like
Ooh.
growing up,
that
that's
can
what
be
I
a
had to
special
deal with. Yeah.
episode. A
I
little-
was like, oh, you can't have those. Those are boys' shoes. Like I was literally told that by a person working in a shoe store one time when I was probably 10
Oh,
years old.
oh, fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Yikes.
God, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Blech.
Good times.
that's rough. Yeah.
Good times. Okay. Okay. Do we have an upswing? Do we have any upswing? Is there an upswing? There's no upswing.
I don't really know what
We
else
just
to say
fade
about
out.
this episode of, but like how like the government is interfering with the goings on at the SGC, and it's like making it more clear and clear that it's not just the Gould or aliens they have to worry about, but they have to worry about interference from their own government that could drastically fuck their shit up. Like again, this is Bauer's like first fucking week at the SGC, and like his first course of action developing this bomb has gone horribly wrong. because
Mhm.
he did not care to listen to the experts of what Sam was telling him. He just wanted to do what he wanted to do. I don't know if it was just like he was following his orders or he truly believed it. I don't know. I think you could argue either way. Um, but yeah, I am so happy that they included this type of storyline because without it, it would not feel as genuine because this kind of stuff goes on in the government to this day. That this is the
Mhm.
kind of stuff that we would have to be dealing with, that I'm sure people are dealing with, and that we just don't know about.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but I don't really go for it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think now that I'm thinking about this and we went through, some of this dialogue again, especially with Kenzie them talking about Kenzie and, we know people won't vote and the people that do vote are too stupid
Yeah.
to vote, to know what they're voting for. And on the one hand, you could look at that as like being a big downer when faced with everything. But I've noticed this in like the book that I'm reading right now too, which is Shakasta by Doris Lessing. I've posted some quotes up in random places, but I think it's to me because that book was written in 1979. And
Mhm.
this show obviously came out, started in 1997. And I think if I'm going to take an upside out of this, it's that these these problems that we feel are very overwhelming and we can't face are things that have been faced before and we have
Mhm.
worked through them before. And so that to me, there is a little bit of an upside to that. Like there is specifically, I was pulling up one of the quotes that I've been like pulling these quotes from this book because it's just wild to see what's being said or anything. And this one says, and here's the place to say that the mass of the populations, the average individual was infinitely better, more sane than those who ruled them. Most would have been appalled at what was being done by their representatives. It is safe to say that even a part of what was being kept from them, if even a part of what was being kept from them had come to their notice, there would have been mass risings across the globe, massacres of the rulers, riots. It's just like, oh, it's 1979. Oh, like even further back. Oh, even further back. And
Mhm.
there's something to be said about reading history, learning from history and not repeating. But
Mhm.
there's
Yeah.
also something to be said about this isn't terribly new. So
Mhm.
there is at least a little bit of a playbook. There is some way of moving forward. There is some way of potentially dealing with things. And so to me, that's kind of an upswing to
Mhm.
what could otherwise be like really a downer.
Yeah.
I agree. And I
I
would end on like sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
that part of the dialogue that you pointed out where Kinsey is like, half of the American people don't vote and the half that do are too stupid. And the thing
Mhm.
is, we have politicians that have basically fucking said that have
Yeah.
said their own supporters are degenerate, stupid, ugly, fat Americans. And it's like
Mhm.
they don't care. Those
Mhm.
supporters will turn a blind eye. They don't care. And it's
Mhm.
incredibly infuriating um that they just don't see it, they don't care. I don't know like how much more blatant some of these politicians can be with their contempt for their own constituents. It is
Mhm.
incredible.
Mhm.
uh, but
I
that
agree.
rings true what he said. It very much hits close to home and rings very true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, I think my final thought on it, because you guys have said it so beautifully, like no notes, no actually like no edits. That my other thing to it though is that if you are someone though in this that is still feeling like personally like, but maybe I feel like I'm still really uncomfortable and I need to take action. I would advise you to take action in the sense of if you feel like you need to make choices for yourself, be patient, do it smart. But if you do not feel safe or do not feel like this is a situation where you can, you know, authentically, exist, then, continue to seek out. I don't want anyone to feel like, how do I say this? Like people constantly reposition themselves in where they live when they feel at conflict. And so I do think there's times where like it's okay to take a look at where you're at and it's okay to look at it and go, I feel safe and I can just hunker in, or if I don't feel safe, tap into resources, start doing some research for yourself. And, there are places out there to kind of help you feel less alone. But I would just advise that, be vigilant and, like I said, question everything, be aware, start looking at what's being said, and, protect yourself and keep yourself as much out of harm's way. And if you are in a marginalized, community, don't lose hope, but also just be safe, and don't, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
we
yeah.
got this,
Yeah.
guys. Like I
We do.
said at the beginning, we have to make it through this. We don't have a
We do.
choice.
We do. My heart is like breaking for a lot of people, but just for all the trans kids out there specifically, just a little bit of moment of solidarity for what those parents and kiddos are going to be going through specifically as like a subsector of a major other kind of big frustration point, because it's about to get really difficult. And for a lot of kids that are going through or need kind of that support, just a special little note on the end, just hang in there.
Oh,
Yeah.
On a personal note, Christina, I want to thank
Yeah.
you for being so open about
Yeah.
discussing what it is like to have a trans kid and what actually happens, because
Mhm.
with the knowledge that I have gained from being your friend and you talking about this
Mhm.
stuff, I have been able to tell people that doesn't
Mm.
fucking happen.
Yeah.
I have a friend who has a trans kid. That doesn't
Mhm.
fucking happen. This is what
Mhm.
actually happens. So having
Yeah.
that knowledge and being able to combat people in my real life and
Yeah.
say, "You don't know what you're talking about. There's no litter boxes in fucking bathrooms and schools.
No.
This doesn't
No.
happen." Like,
No, and nothing.
and just be able to actually educate people, because I know from your firsthand experience of what it's actually like. So thank
Mhm.
you for putting that knowledge
You're
out
welcome.
there. Not everyone is strong enough to share and be as open as you are, and it
Yeah.
it's truly, I think, a service that you are doing to people to help educate them. And that's not your job. You don't have to do that, but the fact that you do take up that mantle and are as open as you are about certain things is so beneficial.
Thank you. I think what's helpful, and then we don't have to like long tangent it, but while this is going to be like in this thing, I might as well say it here. I think the reason why I took up a position of being, I'm not an educator to all. I will never take the burden of educating every single person, but I do educate those close to me, because then they can also help educate and bear some of that burden. And I think that's, to your point, like I really appreciate, because it there is a lot of misinformation. That being said, if people do have genuine questions, email 3fry short Gmail, and I will take those and I will respond. If there are genuine questions, like I will ignore or block or delete or not respond to ones that are
Not in good faith.
insensitive. Not correct. But I would say that um, just trust that parents know what they're doing, and trust that doctors know what they're doing, and trust that you don't know fucking shit. Like if you don't know and you don't know fucking shit. So it's not your problem. Like it's not your problem. Don't shit. But if you are genuinely wanting to be educated so you can be a better steward, I will happily respond and give some talking points on that note. But anyway, we were way off tangent. So,
Yeah.
No,
but
you're
yeah.
fine. I'm just going to add to that really quickly. If there are
Yeah.
other people out there that are adults that are going through like
Yeah.
journeys of their own, especially when faced with things that are happening, like also email, like if you don't
Yes.
have other places to like, and other people, I was talking to somebody in the rally, and this is a trans woman that I just know that just recently came out, and she's like, I'm trying to find these spaces. Nothing feels safe to me, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yes.
email us.
Yeah.
Like,
You are safe with us.
you're
We're
there. Yeah. Like,
mhm,
we're happy to be that space for you if you
mhm.
need it. And
Absolutely.
yeah, especially if you like Stargate too, then it's like the best of like all worlds. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And if we can be that little beacon, then that's what we can be in our part of the resistance, because fuck, like people need to know where the lighthouses are, and they're really hard to know if it's a wolf in sheep's clothing or not, but I can stand on ground like a fucking this is in this area we will continue to be safe and with confidence and confidentiality if need be.
Yeah,
You
we
have
may
a
be
home with
loud,
us.
but we're not going to be
Yeah.
loud about you. Like, don't worry about
Correct.
it. Safe.
Correct.
yeah.
Correct. We can help connect you to communities too.
100%.
Yep.
But I think it's my time to close the iris. I've put it
Perfect.
off long enough.
You know,
I have something kind of
Go
planned
for
up,
it.
so let me know, Wells, when you're ready.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Make sure to wipe your ass with your dude wipes, everybody. Close the iris.